the 1970s, Dennis gave this board to a neighbor and friend named Louis Marotta.
Some sort of bizarro handcuff.
That's what it looks like to me.
They're from 1925.
Cowabunga. Dude, here comes the Beach Boys surfboard. The seller, named after Brian Wilson, claims it's the very board used by Dennis Wilson, the only real surfer in the band, featured on Surfin' Safari and Surfer Girl. Rick's impressed but cautious. This thing screams American surf culture, and the story's strong. Can you believe this provenance? It practically smells like sea salt and vinyl, but Rick wants facts, not nostalgia.
Yeah, it is. This is the actual Beach Boys surfboard that was pictured on their 2 album covers, Surfin' Safari and Surfer Girl.
That's cool.
The seller lays out the chain. Dennis, neighbor Louis Marotta, the seller's dad, him, plus a notarized letter. He drops the number, $100,000 asking price, noting it was displayed at the Grammy Museum insured at $200,000. Rick's eyebrow telegraphs, insurance does not equal market price. Still, massive item. Rick decides an expert must weigh in, because 6 figures isn't a gut call day. Tension rising like a set wave.
This is really cool. I mean, it's incredibly iconic. The Beach Boys are, they were nicknamed America's band. Brian Wilson is considered by many like one of the greatest songwriters.
Meanwhile, Rick's Beach Boys surfboard expert Warwick arrives. He knows the board cold. Dennis Wilson's, culturally massive, but not signed. That signature absence matters. Serious collectors go crazy for multi-signed provenance. Warwick says an ultra-wealthy fan might pay near 6 figures, but a realistic dealer buy would be around $70,000. It's a sobering, savvy take. Premium item, practical ceiling.
I'm quite familiar with the board. It's a very famous, iconic piece. We understand this was Dennis Wilson's board, Dennis the drummer of the brothers.
Time to deal. Rick goes $65,000. Fast cash, real exit. The seller counters $75,000, firm. You can feel the standoff heat up. Rick won't budge, the seller won't blink. Finally, the seller passes. It's a respectful walkaway, strategic patience versus quick liquidity. Can you believe this drama? That board screams history, but discipline wins today.
I'd give you like 65,000.
That's just a little bit, you're close, but that's a little low.
Hard pivot to literature. A seller brings an 1874 Atlantic Monthly with Mark Twain's A True Story. Rick geeks out. Twain is money in the right format. But this isn't a book, it's a magazine. The seller wants $2,500, citing originality and those tough-to-find raps. Rick's intrigued yet skeptical. Magazines rarely punch like first edition books. He flips to page 591. Yep, Mark Twain. Time to call in backup.
How's it going?
Good, how are you?
I'm doing great. I guess this is the Atlantic Monthly.
Yes, we have a first edition of A True Story by Mark Twain.
Let's get an expert. Rick lines up Rebecca, because this value call can swing wildly. The seller's confidence is heavy. He believes rarity plus Twain is equivalent to a payday. Rick's internal calculator says, maybe, but comps? The suspense is real. Is this a sleeper gem or collectible quicksand? Rick's face is the definition of poker. You can cut this tension with a knife. This valuation could crash the party fast.
So this was one of his first published articles in a magazine?
This was the first story published in the Atlantic Monthly, but also one of the first published.
Rebecca arrives and breaks it down. By 1874, Twain's already a star. The Atlantic is prestigious. Historically important? Absolutely. But in the collectible market, magazines aren't as sexy as books. That sting lands hard. Rebecca coolly explains the market reality. Demand skews to books. The room deflates. It's a masterclass in great history market. Talk about a twist.
Guy came in with a magazine that features a story by Mark Twain. There's a big market for just about anything Mark Twain.
The number lands like an anvil, under $100 for a single issue. Ouch. The seller's disappointment is palpable. Rick levels with him. No deal today. Brutal expectations versus reality moment. Honestly, watching hope drain after the expert verdict is rough, but it's the game. Provenance, format, demand. Seriously, look at that reaction. Priceless in its own way.
The Atlantic is particularly interesting, though, because this was the beginning of his serious reputation.
Next up, a quirky throwback, a Prohibition-era spirit hydrometer with Corey. The seller jokes he reads alcohol content off modern labels. Still, the tool is a cool relic from the moonshine days. Corey gives a quick history lesson. This is exactly how proof was measured, proof being double the alcohol percentage. It's a tiny time capsule of science and speakeasies. Drama? Maybe not. Charm? Big time.
I have this device that my grandfather used when he made moonshine during Prohibition.
Nice.
Negotiation lightning round. The seller asks $100. Corey keeps it real. Today's buyers would snag modern tools, not an 80-year-old gauge. He tosses $20 as a take it or leave it. The seller nudges to $25. Deal. Quick handshake, quicker grin. The seller quips he suckered Corey. Pure comic relief between the heavy hitters.
Because it was the proof of how much alcohol in it.
I see.
Proof is double the percentage, so 200 proof would be 100% alcohol. Even the strongest stuff they legally sell is 180.
Tiny item, big personality. A bold splash of pop art enters. A Peter Max Statue of Liberty. Rick admires Max's origin story and iconic style. The seller says a family friend got it from Max at a New York auction. He wants $35,000. Rick's concern, Max's prolific output floods the market. He calls art expert Brett to determine if it's a true one-of-one or an embellished print. Anticipation spikes.
Pretty interesting. Peter Max has got a really weird storied life. You know what I mean? This guy was born in like Nazi Germany, but his family doesn't go like to the States or England.
Rick and the seller wait it out. Paperwork is ready, but pricing hinges on originality and market comps. The seller's confident. This piece looks strong. Rick's playing chess. If it's a unique original, it's a shop centerpiece. If it's a common variant, it's wall art that lingers. Drama overload. Bring in the expert and let's get that number.
Peter Max has a very distinctive style and he's still popular today. He's done posters for the Olympics, the Grammys, and a host of other things. His work has been known to sell for over $100,000.
Enters the expert. He inspects closely. Not a print with paint on top. A true original with acrylics and that musical, lyrical flow Max is known for. Market reality check. Iconic image. But Max has produced thousands and he's still working. Gallery tags might shout $50,000, but actual sales fluctuate. Brett pegs value around $25,000. That's our anchor.
Came in with one of Peter Max's iconic paintings of the Statue of Liberty. It's definitely cool, but I don't know what it's worth. So I called in Brett to help me out with it.
Negotiation time. Rick opens at $10,000. The seller balks. Rick moves to $12,000 cash. The walkout today pitch. The seller weighs Brett's $25,000 estimate against guaranteed money now. Tension you could cut with a palette knife. He nods. Deal at $12,000. Serious relief. Serious win-win. The seller funds his business. Rick gets a marquee pop art piece to move. I did not see that coming.
Lee, that's a nice work.
Thank you. Nice
All
to
right,
meet you.
thank you. Nice meeting you. If the shop is able to negotiate, Peter Max, a living icon. So I think they're going to have an audience for it here at the shop.
A seller walks in with a quirky donkey cigar store trade stimulator, claiming it came from his family's shop back in the 50s. Rick examines the cast iron gadget, explaining it was meant to boost cigar sales with a little gambling game. The seller asks $4,000, but Rick is instantly suspicious. These are heavily faked. Cue Chumlee cracking jackass jokes while the tension slowly rises.
What do we have here?
We have a turn of the century tobacco cigar store trade stimulator.
It's a donkey, Rick.
I know that donkey, okay? And I've actually seen these things before.
Every time you look in the mirror.
Rick calls in expert Rick Dale, who takes one look and isn't impressed. He points out the casting is way too clean, the bolts are too modern, and frankly, it just looks too perfect to be from 1900. The seller's face sinks as Dale drops the hammer. It's a fake. Ouch. Talk about expectations crashing fast. No deal, just disappointment. And a couple more donkey jokes from Chum.
Okay, so you've seen these before, right?
Yeah, trade stimulators, pretty popular. I mean, they made so many different ones. I mean, they made little slot machines. They were all around cigarettes, cigars, and all that stuff. It was just to stimulate the product that they were selling. So this was cigars. But what it also did was it was like a gambling device.
Now things really heat up. An Ezekiel Baker breech-loading rifle straight out of the early 1800s. The seller hopes for around $12,500. Corey is blown away, but admits he's never seen one like it. He calls in his buddy Alex, who nearly faints when he realizes it could be a prototype. If it works, Alex says it could hit $25,000. Everyone's eyes go wide. This is big money.
Ezekiel Baker, London, gun maker to His Majesty. Wow. And it's breech loading. So instead of having to like pack it down like that like they used to, you'd actually put the ball in there.
Oh, wow, okay.
The guys take it out to the firing range. The seller looks nervous, Corey looks pumped, and Alex carefully explains the unique lever loading mechanism. Then comes the moment. Boom! The rifle fires perfectly, and everyone cheers. Alex declares it a one-of-a-kind prototype worth $25,000. Talk about a payday. The seller can barely contain his excitement.
You don't really ever get to see prototype one-of-a-kind guns.
The seller's asking $12,500. I'm out at the range today to see if this rifle fires and everything works correctly. It could be worth $20-some thousand.
Negotiations get tense. Corey offers $18,000 against the seller's ask of $22,000. After some back and forth, the seller accepts $18,000, thrilled to cash in. Corey beams like he just won the lottery, and honestly, he kinda did. That was one of the smoothest and most expensive negotiations the show has seen in a while.
Well, I appreciate it, man. Thanks a lot.
Thank you very much.
Good luck.
Appreciate it.
So, you still want $12,500 for it?
Well, he said it's worth $25, so.
Would you do $15,000?
I know you gotta make some money. How about $22,000?
Then comes Hollywood Magic, a Marlon Brando-owned leather jacket. The seller struts in, channeling the Godfather vibes, and drops a $15,000 ask. Rick is impressed by the authenticity, but quickly makes clear it's not screen-worn, which slashes the value. The seller tries to hold his ground, but Rick plays hardball with offers of $8,000 to $8,500. Eventually, the seller agrees at $8,500. Rick just scored Brando's swagger for half the price.
Pretty good.
What do we got here?
Well, my wife told me to come down and make you an offer you couldn't refuse. This is Marlon Brando's personally owned 1950s biker leather coat.
This was not a movie-worn jacket.
No, it's a personally owned.
The history lesson that follows is wild. Rick breaks down how leather jackets evolved from cavemen hides to bomber jackets to ultimate rebellion symbols in Hollywood. From Brando to Elvis to Joan Jett, the leather jacket became timeless. Honestly, Rick geeking out over fashion history might have been the funniest twist of the night.
Brando could make anything look cool. But let's face it, the leather jacket doesn't need a lot of help. It's pretty much the most badass piece of clothing ever invented. Everybody looks good in a leather jacket. Even I look cool in one.
A seller then shocks Rick with a 1952 Pablo Picasso ceramic plate. He wants $5,000, but there's a chip, and that's a problem. Rick calls in expert Chad, who confirms it's authentic, but explains Picasso designed it while master painters actually painted. Value today, about $4,500. The seller won't budge below $4,000. Rick won't go higher than $2,500. They can't meet in the middle, and the seller leaves muttering about bulls. No deal.
What do we have here? Did your kid make this in school or something?
No. We have a Picasso Maduro ceramic from 1952 titled Toros.
Things get quirky again with a 1956 Pez Space Ray Gun dispenser. Yes, a Pez gun that literally shoots candy. Rick is skeptical, knowing counterfeits are everywhere, so he brings in expert Steve. Steve confirms it's legit, complete with an original instruction sheet, and values it at $450. The seller wants $500, Corey counters at $300, and finally they shake at $300. Sweet deal, literally.
I have a 1956 Pez Space Ray Gun.
Pez candy I always thought was disgusting. They started off as an aid to get people to stop smoking. So it was a little round tablet that tasted like mint, but people didn't want to quit smoking.
But wait, the Pez gun mysteriously disappears. Rick storms over to Chumlee's candy shop across the parking lot and finds it proudly displayed there. Chum defends himself, saying it belongs in its natural environment. Rick just laughs and tells him $400 is coming out of his paycheck. Chum begs for a discount, but nope. Rick even jokes about taking a candy bar too. Classic Chumlee chaos.
My Pez gun?
It's a Pez gun. I don't know if it's yours anymore.
Did you buy it off me?
No, I put location Chum.
Why is it over here?
Take a look around. This is a candy shop. Look at all these Pez right here. It looks much better.
But this is your store, not my store.
A man brings in an old percussion pistol, and Rick immediately clocks it as early 1800s cap and ball. And yup, it's loaded. Rick slides the ramrod, notices it won't bottom out, and coolly explains why the cap's missing means it won't fire. Probably. The seller wants cash. Rick wants certainty. You can feel the tension rising because a loaded antique is basically history with attitude. Can you believe this opener?
It's an old percussion pistol.
That's neat.
This was just given to me by a friend of mine. He retired to Japan, and you're not allowed to take firearms into Japan.
Rick adds context. Late 1800s guns weren't cap and ball, so this is earlier. It likely served as a dueling pistol, smooth bore, intentionally inaccurate, the kind of thing where two stubborn gentlemen might miss a barn at 40 paces. He even name drops Hamilton and Burr to underline the stakes. Seriously, imagine settling arguments like this. Talk about a twist on conflict resolution.
On the side plate, it's Mark W. Child. He was a firearms maker in probably later 1800s.
Then the rarity bomb lands. This pistol has has a safety. Rick has barely ever seen that on a gun like this. The engraving is sweet, it's marked W. Childs, and collectors love them in pairs. One alone hurts value. The seller asks $1,100. Rick anchors low. After back and forth and the old man nudging for compromise, they seal it at $850. Slick buy, risky sell, great TV.
Is really, really rare. I've never actually seen one on a gun like this.
Really?
It's got some beautiful hand engraving.
Q-Rock history vibes. A seller claims his custom beaver felt hat came straight off Ronnie Van Zandt's head backstage in 1977, months before the tragic plane crash. He's got a photo of Ronnie wearing this style and points to worn lettering inside. The story is heartfelt, the timing is heavy, and the room suddenly feels like a shrine to Southern rock legacy.
Well, what do you got?
This amazing hat belonged to Ronnie Van Zandt.
Ronnie Van Zandt.
Leonard Skinner, Freebird.
Corey's skeptical, Rick's intrigued, and the seller shoots for the moon, $25,000. Rick counters $10,000, cash. Corey blurts that Rick's crazy without stronger proof. You can cut this tension with a knife. The hat is cool, the story compelling, but provenance is everything. The seller insists Ronnie wore it constantly. The shop insists they need more than a good story.
I had to come up with a lot more proof than that it was Ronnie Van Zandt's hat than that for 25 grand. A whole lot.
He wore it every time he was on stage.
Standoff. The seller won't budge below $20,000, Rick won't go above $10,000, and that's the ball game. No deal. The awkward goodbye says it all. Great piece if it's real, impossible price without ironclad documentation, drama overload, and somewhere a distant chorus yells, "Free bird."
If you change your mind, give me a call.
I will.
Man, I really wanted to make a deal on this, but he wanted way too much.
Next, a first edition David Copperfield walks in. Yes, Charles Dickens. The seller won it after a round of golf, ultimate Vegas trade-up. Rick geeks out over Dickens's serialized releases and iconic characters. The ask? $4,000. Big number, but first editions can be monsters if legit. Can you believe this drama? Literature bringing the heat.
First edition, David Copperfield by Charles Dickens, one of my favorite classic writers.
Yeah, he was like a rock star. There's some pretty iconic...
Rick checks the imprint details to confirm first edition, then flags condition issues, spotting, and foxing. Condition is king, and this king has a few dents in the crown. Still, the rarity's tempting. It's that classic Pawn Stars cocktail. Risk, reward, and Rick's gut doing the tango with the price tag.
I believe it is, yeah. Okay, the way you can tell is there's just the one publishing date.
Negotiations pop. Rick opens low. The seller digs in. After a salty back and forth, they shake at $1,600. Seriously, watch that reaction. Priceless. The seller leaves grinning over found money, and Rick looks half victorious, half nervous. Did he just score or buy a headache? Talk about a twist.
That's a first edition. How about $3,000?
If I pay you $3,000 for that.
Rebecca arrives to examine Rick's Dickens. She checks the bibliographic tells and flips to page 16. Cannot recall is misspelled with one L. First issue alert. Then the gut punch. Heavy foxing from old paper chemistry. Authentic and early, but condition dings the number. You can see Rick's hope do a little roller coaster drop.
Apparently, Rick bought what he thinks is a first edition Charles Dickens.
Relief. Rebecca pegs retail around $2,500 to $3,000. Rick paid $1,600, so he's in the green. The old man immediately grumbles for his reading time. "Gimme my book back!" And Rick hands it over. Seriously, look at that reaction. That's the Pawn Stars victory face. Cautious, relieved, and already planning the price tag.
A retail value of $2,500 to $3,000.
Oh, sweet.
For a total curveball, a vintage payphone clunks onto the counter. The sellers converted it for home use. Nickel, dime, quarter still make those classic dings. Corey is all business. These aren't ultra rare, but buyers love usable nostalgia. After haggling from $250 to a firm counter, Corey lands it for $140. Nickel and dime banter never looked so good.
You ever heard the term drop dime? Yeah, it's all payphones used to take. It's cool that somebody already went through the trouble to convert.
A guy walks in with bizarre antique restraints that look like medieval cosplay gone wrong. Rick and the seller joke, until the demo gets real. Watching Rick try to position his hand is pure cringe comedy. The vibe flips from fun gag to why do these exist in seconds. The mystery is half the thrill, but the discomfort on Rick's face, priceless. Can you believe this drama?
Hi. What do we have here?
They are,
They're disturbing is what they are.
They're disturbing. I'm coming into the pawn shop.
And then, ow, ow, ow. The pressure on the wrist is immediate, and Rick's done playing. He calls them miserable, evil things. And honestly, you can cut this tension with a knife. The seller's grinning. Rick's reconsidering every life choice that led to this exact moment. It's clear we need an expert, because what in the world are these for?
Yeah, that's not gonna work. Ow, ow. Yeah, these are miserable. These would definitely keep you from doing anything.
Expert time on those cuffs. Rick brings in Mark, who identifies them as McKenzie Mitts from 1925. Super rare prisoner transport restraints used briefly because they required cooperation to apply, and then became formidable weapons. The backstory is chilling and explains the bizarre design perfectly.
Earlier today, some guy brought in these insane-looking handcuffs or gloves or whatever they were. I had no idea. That's why I called in my buddy Mark.
Valuation and deal. Let's go. Mark pegs them at $3,500 to $4,000 in auction, and the seller nearly ascends to the ceiling. Negotiation turns cheeky. After some creative math, Rick puts it away at $2,000. That's a $1,900 flip from a flea market $100 buy. Seriously, watch that reaction. Priceless.
So how much do you actually want for it?
Well, if they're worth $3,500, how about $3,500?
Want $3,500?
Pivot to a different relic, an unopened Old Taylor Prohibition whiskey bottle. The seller got it decades ago to square a debt. What a payoff. Rick and the old man light up. This is history in a box labeled for medicinal purposes only. Imagine coughing your way to a prescription for bourbon. I did not see that coming.
What can I help you with?
I want to sell my Old Taylor Prohibition bottle of whiskey.
Pops, the medicine you need. Yeah, right.
Rick explains the wild Prohibition workaround, bad bootleg booze, bathtub gin, and cocktails invented to hide the taste. The idea that people legally filled whiskey at the pharmacy with a wink from the doctor is both hilarious and totally on brand for the era. The old man's roasting too. That stuff could make you go blind.
Do you know when the mixed drink became popular?
No.
It was during Prohibition because the whiskey was just rocka, the gin was bathtub gin. It just tasted so bad.
Deal time. The seller shoots for $250. Rick counters at $200. Clean, simple, and sold. You can feel Rick's collector brain humming. Even if you can't drink it, it'll look incredible on display. Quick profit potential plus a killer conversation piece? That's a win. Seriously, look at that reaction.
What do you want to do with this? You want to sell it? On it?
I thought I would just go ahead and sell it. I was hoping to get $250.
Corey and Chumlee step into the danger zone. Literally, they're eyeing a massive hot air balloon designed for 12 to 14 people. The seller explains the burners, BTUS, and upgrades. Corey's doing the math. Chumlee's cracking hot dog jokes. And I'm over here thinking, what could possibly go wrong?
Called me about, huh?
Yes, sir, it is. This is the big one.
Looks dangerous.
But there's more people hurt and killed in cars every day than there are in balloons.
Negotiation heats up. The ask is $45,000. After banter about bargaining in the sky, bold strategy, they landed at $38,000. Corey's confident. Turnkey. Good condition, big upside. Talk about a twist. Buying a balloon at a pawn shop feels insane, but the margin might just fly.
You get for it?
I'd like to get about $45,000 for it.
These things cost a ton of money, but I've done a lot of research, and if we make it...
Cue Rick's entrance and immediate meltdown. He spots the basket outside. What the hell is that? Corey, I bought it. Rick, short circuits. The $38,000 number hits like a right hook. This isn't a damn video game. You can practically see steam coming out of his ears. Drama overload.
What the hell is that thing in the parking lot?
That is a 12-passenger hot air balloon.
What the hell is it doing here?
Bought it.
Wait, you bought a hot air balloon?
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Rick drags Corey to face Doug, the balloon seller, for an attempted undo. Doug's firm. The money's already gone into a new balloon. He pitches alternatives: branding, tours, training, or Doug piloting for them. Rick's furious, but at least there's a path to make this turkey fly.
I found out Corey and Chumlee bought a hot air balloon. I was pissed. So I asked Corey to do the one thing I have never asked anybody to do.
One last shot to monetize the balloon. Doug pilots. Passengers pay $150 a head, and Chumlee tries to calm everyone by admitting it's his first time. Then chaos. They lift before Corey's aboard. Dude, I wasn't even here yet. You can cut this tension with a knife. The pawn shop just went airborne. Literally.
At $150 a person, it's not really going to put that big of a dent in the cost. To be honest, I'm kind of excited about riding in a hot air balloon.
Now a guitarist arrives with a Gibson Les Paul Custom he believes is a 1960. He toured with Triumph and Toto, huge flex, and wants $25,000. Rick respects the guitar, but knows vintage Gibsons can be serial number landmines. He calls Jesse to verify before dropping serious cash.
How's it going?
Hey, how you doing?
Pretty good. What do we got here?
1960 Les Paul Custom.
Oh, nice.
So where'd you get this thing?
Got it back when I was touring on the road in the 80s.
Jesse arrives and inspects the Les Paul. Tuners, binding, two-piece body, volute, all the nerdy tells. The wear screams character, but the construction screams early 70s, not 1960. You can feel the seller's heart sink as the truth closes in. Talk about a twist.
They're totally normal. And you've got these style tuning machines. They're tarnished, but those are actually original to the guitar.
The Verdict lands hard. Value around $3,000. Rick floats $2,000, hoping sentiment doesn't win, but it does. The seller keeps his Road Warrior. Expectations versus reality hits like a cymbal crash, and Rick shrugs it off. Not every legend brings legendary money.
The moment that they said it wasn't a 1960 Les Paul, my stomach kind of dropped a little bit. It kind of hit me pretty hard.
A young guy walks in cradling an antique coffee grinder that looks part gym equipment, part medieval contraption. He says it was a graduation gift from his sanitation worker uncle, romantic. And Rick immediately jokes you'd get lockjaw if you used it. But then Rick's eyes light up. Cast iron, late 19th century, Chicago manufacturing roots. This thing is industrial history. You can cut the curiosity with a knife. Rick's already picturing the flip.
So what do we got here, man?
This is an antique coffee grinder. My uncle works at the Department of Sanitation, picks up a lot of stuff.
Rick examines the gears and housing like a surgeon. Everything engages. No cracks, no missing chunks. He even points out the ghost of blue paint still clinging inside. Proof it once had that flashy factory finish. Built to last isn't just a cliche. This beast practically purrs without electricity. You can feel the value building in Rick's head. Seriously, look at that reaction. Pure, this could be a winner energy.
I hope you haven't used this thing because you'd probably get lockjaw, man. It's definitely cool. I mean, you put the coffee in there, you turn the handle, and it comes out here.
Cue the money talk. The seller shoots for $500 with the confidence of a barista who's never ground a bean. Rick counters at $200, calmly citing restoration costs that'll swallow several $100s. Tension, but not for long. The seller folds. Deal at $200. Can you believe this drama? Rick just bagged a project piece that screams profit potential, and the handshake says it all.
Well, I'm thinking like $500, man.
Nah.
Time to pay off Rick's gamble. He heads to Rick Dale's shop to pick up the restored coffee grinder. The reveal? Jaw-dropping. Fresh paint, crisp detailing, gears cleaned and humming. This thing went from scrapyard chic to museum wow. Rick's grin says it all. I did not see that coming. This glow-up is outrageous.
A few weeks ago, I bought an antique coffee grinder. I dropped it off my buddy Rick Dale's, have it cleaned up, and now I'm on my way to pick it up. And I can't wait.
So, what do you think?
Then Dale drops the bomb. He charged $350 for the work, and the grinder should now fetch roughly $1,800 to $2,500. Let that sink in. $200 purchase plus $350 restore. Potential sale near $2,000. That's how you do it. Rick practically levitates. Seriously, look at that reaction. This is why he loves project pieces.
Do you know much about this company right here?
The Fairbanks Morris Company has been around since the early 1800s. They first started making plow, and then they went into tractors and motors and...
A new seller shows up with a 1967 Rat Patrol lunchbox, and Rick goes full nostalgia professor. The show? 4 guys in desert jeeps blowing stuff up on a kid's lunchbox. Talk about a time capsule. Campy TV plus painted steel equals collectible lane, but condition is king. The vibe flips from fun find to uh-oh, as Rick starts clocking dings and wear.
No, I forgot that. I got a 1967 Rat Patrol lunchbox I'm interested in selling.
Okay. Do you know much about it?
No, I didn't even know much about Rat Patrol.
Now the verdict, Aladdin made it. Great. But it's dented to high heaven, missing the metal clip, and worst of all, no thermos. Rick explains the thermos doubles the value. Without it, you're basically holding a colorful tin bruise. In perfect shape, maybe $150 to $175. In this shape, more like $30 retail. That sound you hear is hope deflating.
But let's be honest, it's not Hogan's Heroes. I think it's pretty cool, but it's a little politically incorrect for nowadays when you have, like, on a 6-year-old's lunchbox and blowing up people.
Negotiation time. Rick offers a whopping $20, which lands like a pop quiz. The seller thinks it over, then decides to keep it. Honestly, respect. Sometimes nostalgia beats lunch money. Still, the lesson's brutal. Condition isn't just important, it's everything. Seriously, watch that reaction. Priceless reality check.
You don't have the metal clip right here that holds in the thermos?
Yeah.
And you don't have the thermos?
Yeah.
Okay. And then this thing in perfect shape with the thermos.
Next, the door opens, and in strolls a 6-foot hand-carved wooden Indian statue, all presents and paint. The seller says it came from his grandfather's tobacco shop and weighs about 150 pounds. Chumlee's joints start creaking just looking at it. The old man steps up, eyes narrowed, interest peaked. This is statement decor with a story.
Hey, boss.
What?
Come check this out. You didn't notice a 6-foot Indian run through the door?
Chumlee, I was looking for somebody to read.
The old man lays out the history. Cigar Store Indians marking tobacco shops so even non-readers knew where to go. This one's well kept. Colors strong, not sun-faded. Carving crisp. It's the kind of Americana that doesn't need a sales pitch. It just owns the room. Drama overload. You can feel the old man calculating resale with every glance.
Weighs a lot. The cigar wooden Indian came to be the symbol for a tobacco shop back in the late 1800s.
Numbers fly. The seller floats around $900, but the old man fires back. He's not in retail, he's in reality. $400 is the play. Counter at $600. The old man won't budge. You can cut this tension with a knife. Finally, the seller accepts $400. Talk about a twist. Solid piece, solid margin, and a backroom workout for the crew.
What are you trying to do, guys? Sell it, pawn it, donate it?
I'm trying to sell.
What are you trying to get out of it?
I'm looking maybe, I think it might be worth around $9.
Now for the wild card. A man walks in claiming to have original 1930s FDR home movie footage, 7+ minutes long. Rick's eyebrows launch into orbit while the old man warns they must rule out stock or duped 16mm. If it's truly unique, the ceiling is, who knows? Can you believe this drama? The stakes just went historic.
Yeah, and I just couldn't believe it. I was like, I'm looking into a window of history.
FDR was our 32nd president. He was president from 1933 to 1945.
They prepped to screen it. The seller says it's personal footage tied to a Red Cross attorney with access in that era. The room dims and the mood gets reverent. The old man and Rick lean forward like they're about to meet history's gaze. You can feel the electricity. This could be nothing or everything.
Earlier, a guy brought in a film he claims of FDR from the 30s.
The projector rolls, Washington scenes, the White House, and then FDR in a top hat, parading past in a motorcade. The shop is mesmerized. It's distant, but undeniably powerful. Rare home shot perspective, not newsreel polish. Drama overload. Still, there's that nagging truth. Tons of folks aimed home cameras at famous moments. How rare is rare enough?
If it's legit, it could be worth a ton of money.
Time to price the past. The seller drops a nuclear ask, $90,000, citing a 6-figure Marilyn Monroe home movie as precedent. Rick pushes back immediately. That's Marilyn, a different universe of demand. If this showed FDR unambiguously in his wheelchair, different story. But as shot, distant and public-facing, it's powerful history without the singular hook. You can cut this tension with a knife.
I would have shelled out 90 grand in a minute. It's one of those things I'm not even going to make an offer on.
Well, why don't you flirt with me?
You're not going to like my flirt.
Final call. Rick says with truly one-of-a-kind items, you can't comp the last sale. Auctions might rocket or stall. He won't chase a ghost at that price and ultimately passes. The seller leaves with the film, and the room exhales. Talk about a twist. Historic chills, but no deal. Seriously, watch that reaction. Equal parts awe and discipline.
Hey, come on, guys. This is the deal. When you get to the tires, you run through the tires. Pretty self-explanatory, right?
Yep.
You get to the first cone, 10 jumping jacks apiece. Second cone, 10 jump rope, and then run back. First one there wins.